الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون صدق الله العظيم. Welcome to the newly entitled study circle which says Path to Hell. Firstly, I will like to thank everyone for coming and being on time and such. So when we start off first, just as a slight icebreaker, you may or probably know people who are next to you, but I will probably just ask some very basic questions. So basically, if the partner next to you, if you just ask them their name, where they're from, what they want to achieve, and to name one interesting thing about yourself. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that. 4 things: name, where you're from, what you want to achieve from this study session, and one interesting thing, fact, whatever you want to call it about you. And I won't accept when somebody says, oh, I've got nothing interesting about me, because you're telling me you're boring then. So I'll just give you 1 minute and you can talk between yourselves while we do that. So last 30 seconds, I'm going to ask people to tell me about their partner. So you make sure you remember their name at least and where they're from and so forth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. Who should I pick on first? Brothers or sisters? See, the sisters are still talking, we'll go with them. So, sister here, if you just tell me the name of the other sister, where they're from, what they want to achieve from the study circle, and one interesting thing that the other person said about themselves.
The sister's name's Aisha.
Yep.
Interesting fact is she's not from here. She's actually from the Wolverhampton, but she's married here, unfortunately. Interesting fact, not what you want to achieve. We didn't get that far.
Chalo. So I did say 1 minute, that's fine, yeah. So the fact that she says she's not from here and she's from Wolverhampton tells me lots of things. She's still not settled here. This is the best place in the country, as he said. So, and if you can do it for the opposite, if you tell me about the other sister.
So this is Sister Iram. I think her interesting fact from me, she got 4 children. And we didn't get as far as the next bit.
I'll let you on. Didn't know it was an interesting fact to have children, but all the married blokes on this side, they know what they're going to say now. So, Jamil and with the Shezo. Jamil, tell me about Shezo. If you don't know him. Just speak up so the sisters can hear as well.
So, brother's name is Shazwan.
Sorry, you're going to have to just stand up and speak because I can't hear you. That's it. And a bit louder so the sisters can hear.
Yeah, brother's name is Shazwan. He's from Nelson. An interesting fact he said about himself, he walked from Nelson to Blackburn during COVID times. And what he wants to achieve from this course is how he can protect himself from the path of hell.
MashaAllah. Interesting, he walked from Nelson to Blackburn. Must have been a takeaway or something there. And Shazagon, you can sit down, Ajwan, you tell me about... you have to speak up so the sisters can hear.
Brother Jamal, and they're from Nelson. And an interesting thing about themselves is that they're passionate about going to the gym, keeping themselves healthy and fit. And that's the unique thing. And then in terms of the path, why we're here is they want to learn the methodology in terms of what they can do to avoid this particular path that we're going to be studying.
Gee, that's fine. The 2 young men here, tell me your names. I don't know your names. Both are going to go, so you can decide between who goes first.
You didn't tell me anything about him.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Speak up. I'm deaf. Stand up and then, right. So you didn't get his name?
I didn't get his name.
Go on, tell me where he's from then at least.
I spoke to him, he didn't speak. No, he spoke to me, I didn't speak to him.
MashaAllah. Well, if you sit down, you're going to have to...
Well, his name is Abu Bakr and he's actually my brother.
Acha.
An interesting fact about him is he's a good driver, and what he wants to achieve in this is he wants to get close to the brothers.
Closer to the brother, interesting. What's interesting about being a good driver? Tell me.
I don't know.
So go on, Abu Bakr. You sit down, Abu Bakr. Tell me, what's interesting about being a good driver?
Getting to point A to point B faster than normal.
MashaAllah. You know, this is the levels we're on in society. It's interesting to be a good driver. Right. Okay, so that's fine. That's good, as he says. So just coming obviously then as an intro, and it's obviously entitled The Path to Hell. The question you may have is, why does it not say Path to Paradise? We all want to go to paradise, yes? But if we want to go to paradise, then do we need to know the path to hell? Abu Bakr, you're nodding, tell me why.
Because then we can avoid these things. Because if you're doing these things, then that's the path to hell.
Correct. Yes, so if, for example, let's say I say you want to go to London, you're going to have to know the path to London, aren't you? And probably you're going to have to know, let's say if you know the path to London, you should know therefore what is not the path or the road to London. Because if you start, let's say, going on the M6 north, you should know that you're on the wrong path. So you really almost have to know that you're on the wrong path to almost know which is the right path. And so that's why it's important that we think, why is it that we need to know the path to hell? And that's why we've entitled it Path to Hell rather than Path to Paradise. Because generally, if we avoid the path to hell, where will we end up? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So from that perspective, then we're doing. So a couple of interesting answers came back why people are here. If I just ask any one of the sisters, I know you didn't discuss it, but why did you come here then? To avoid. And so, okay, so then when I ask people what the path to paradise is, can someone tell me that? And if you don't put your hands up, then I will pick on people. So what is the path to paradise? Okay, what acts should we be doing for going on the path to paradise? Shazza, go on. You got something at the tip of your tongue there.
So, in terms of the path to paradise, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us mentors in the respect of prophets who are beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's more about actions. So we try and associate ourselves with those who have certain actions which will make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with us by following their mentorship and their example. So it's through certain actions Allah knows best. Maybe that's what.
No, mashallah, that's a good answer. To look at this. This is what we should have enthusiasm. People putting their hands up. Go on, Abu Bakr.
Adding to the brother that we should be.
Speak up so the sisters can hear.
Adding to the brother, we should be following the actions of the Sunnah. So even though we have mentors in place, but the best mentor is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Follow his Sunnah, his actions.
Okay, so if we just take that, let's break that down a bit. Now, the path to paradise, we've had mentioned Sunnah, we've had mention of following examples or the prophets. Clearly, we have farz acts, yes, first in Islam. So tell me one of the farz acts which will take us to the path to paradise.
Salah?
Yep, Salah one. Anything else?
Fasting.
Fasting 2. Come on, this is GCSE religious studies, isn't it? 5 pillars.
Yeah.
Zakat 3.
Testification of the faith.
Yep.
Fasting.
Hajj, yes. So we've got the 5 there, yeah, from that. So we would say, look, if you did them 5 pillars, we are going to the path to paradise, correct? Yes? Now, so tell me then, where did Shaitan go wrong? Was he not fasting? Did he not give the testament of the faith? Was he not doing Salah? No. Was he not doing in them kind of acts? Was he doing every good act available to him? Yes, we agree. So was he on the path to paradise?
Yes.
So what happened then?
He had too much arrogance in his heart.
He had too much arrogance in his heart. But he's on the path to paradise, you just said. If we just said, I asked you what the path to paradise is, nobody put the hand up and said, don't be arrogant. Did anyone mention that? So, if we look at it from that perspective, what do we even ourselves think when we are doing, let's say I ask a question like path to paradise, we think Salah, Zakat, fasting, the usuals, isn't it? Because we think it's that is going to lead us to the path to paradise. But we have the greatest example of somebody who's going to be a worshipper better than me and better than everyone in this room and in this town and probably even Wolverhampton, that Shaitan was one of the greatest worshippers. Yet, we know his fate. So now, if I now ask this question then, what is the path to paradise? Give me some answers. Even Abu Bakr is looking a bit perplexed now. But you see, if you think about it, you see, the interesting question we go to is the acts, in it, the further acts from that perspective. Because what's that? It's in our mindset, isn't it? We've grown up, we've been taught, yes, we should do Salahs. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing them. Let's get that clear. But there has to be something else there, hasn't there? Because we have the example. There has to be something else for us to go on that path to paradise. And that will then feed into, hold on, if I asked you what the path to hell is, you people say, oh, you're not praying, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You probably do the usuals. So therefore, when I said to you then, if you're praying Salah, am I on the path to paradise? Most people say yes. But remember, it's a path, isn't it? And Salah will only take us so far, won't it? Because look at Shaitan. Where did his worship, or where has his worship taken him so far? Dear sister, I think you're going to say something. So you're going to have to speak up so the brothers can hear, I'm afraid.
It's to please Allah. It's just the intention more than anything, I think.
So, okay, just break that out again. So to please Allah. And so how do we please Allah? Because again, if I ask how do we please Allah, probably one of the top answers will be praying Salah. Is Allah pleased by our Salah? Does Allah need our Salah? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need any of our worship? So again, we're saying, look, breaking out this kind of mindset that, hold on, let's not just think about necessarily the usual, the salahs, the fard acts. The outward acts, that's what we look at generally, isn't it? If a brother has a beard, he's wearing a marmot, he's wearing a jubba, we're probably thinking, mashallah, If I look at someone like Abu Bakr, I say, look at that, mashallah, he's wearing t-shirts and things. But you see, what we would think if we saw two brothers like that? Inevitably, we're going to think, hold on, because of his dress code, he's maybe less religious than his brother, even though his brother's wearing a hairband. So, again, looking outwardly at these acts, how are we going to say that we can recognize the path to hell and know that we're on the path to hell? And now, lots of people may say, well, I would know if I'm on the path to hell. Well, doesn't Shaitan know? Is he stupid, Shaitan? He's stupid, we know that, but did he have enough intellect to know that what he's doing is wrong or not? Do we have that intellect? Now, going on then in terms of Shaitan, he really, just like we said, we have the example of the Prophet ﷺ as the greatest example of if you want to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, get to paradise, he is the best example. And we have the best example of if you want to go to hell, by Shaitan. And now we then have to look, okay, how is he the example? When we look at the Prophet ﷺ, we look at their character, their outward appearance, how they dealt with people, all these facts, how they ate, how they did wudu, how they did everything, every single aspect, we would look at that. Now then we look at Shaitan then. We have to think, what do we take from shaitan, which are the, you know, the alarm bells ringing for us in terms of the path to hell. And like in war, he's an enemy to us, isn't he? He's an enemy, isn't he? We know that. But you have to, like in war, you need to know your enemy. If you know your enemy, then you've got a better chance of succeeding against your enemy. Why? Because if you know what the enemy's tricks are, what the enemy's likely to do, you're more likely to counter it, aren't you? You're more likely to be informed, hold on, I know that this is what the shaitan is going to do. I know these are the steps he's going to take. Now, if I know shaitan is coming for me with a certain action or a certain thing, either I'm really stupid and going to think, come and get me, or I'm going to try to take some kind of action, you know. If a man walked through that door with a gun, I can bet you bottom dollar all of us won't be sitting here. We'd do some kind of action, won't we? So, even with shaitan then, you know, it's said in that he's that open enemy. Now, can we see him? We can't see him. But he'll come from the front, from the back, the left hand, whichever way. Shaitan is coming for us. And so sometimes even we think, oh, shaitan's coming for me. What am I going to do? Shaitan's got me. We seem to think we're powerless against shaitan. Are we powerless? So what have we got? Abu Bakr's brother, what's your name, sorry? Samir. So what have we got to counter the shaitan? I mean, look, you probably play computer games. I'm telling you, like my age. PlayStation, Call of Duty, is it? You have the best gun or whatever, then you're more likely to kill a lot more people, aren't you? So you need a tool, or you should be having tools which are going to be the best form of... So best form of defense is attack. Why are we waiting for shaitan to come? Are we powerless? Has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us powerless? Are we such weak things that shaitan's just going to take us? So what have we got? What is it that we can then deploy? Is Salah a weapon? It is, isn't it? But it's, again, how you use that weapon. If I hand Jamil a Kalashnikov and he doesn't know how to use it, he's going to do more damage with it, isn't he? Now, yes, Salah is a weapon, but, you know, what is the best form of Salah? How do we actually do it? What is the purpose of Salah? What are we supposed to be achieving from it? So when I then say, look, do you know how to use that Kalashnikov? You need to know how to fire it, don't you? Otherwise, frankly, then what's the purpose of having that, even a weapon of Salah, if we're not using it properly? If we're going into Salah and we're thinking about what we're doing tomorrow, you know, I wonder if I've just had a ping, you know, like Abu Bakr has on his phone. He's had a ping on his phone, he needs to check it. He's got work tomorrow or something, you know. So you have to think in Salah, where if we are reading Salah and our mind is going here, there, everywhere, are we really using it? Is that really the purpose of Salah? Okay, we're going to get some reward for the physical acts. We've done wuzu, maybe we've turned up masjid, we've read at home. You know, we've probably remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at least once in that Salah. But compare that to probably where else the mind was going. You have to think, well, you know, is that the weapon I'm using most effective? Now, the path of hell, if you just talk to your partner, how does one end up on the path to hell? So just have a think about it. I'm going to give you 30 seconds or a minute, so no one say to me, we didn't get time to discuss this. 30 seconds to a minute, just tell me, how do we end up on the path to hell? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So can I have some answers? Put your hands up. Go on, sister. She's nominated you. Don't worry, I'll pick on her next time.
I think it's heedlessness.
Heedlessness.
What we say, ghafla.
Yes. Come in. I think it's sister. Sorry, just want to come in. Just open the door for she probably. Or is it a brother? Heedlessness. Tegan, that's fine. Any other? Jamil, you had your hand up?
So we said by not having a guide.
By not having a guide.
So without a guide, you just you don't know what you're doing, kind of thing.
Samir?
By going against what is in the Quran and Sunnah.
Mashallah, that's a very good answer. Regulation answer. Everyone comes out with that. We all know that though, don't we? Yet, how many people pray in the community? Take as an example, there's 2 billion Muslims. Maybe 50, 60, 70% don't pray regularly, isn't it? So everyone knows the Quran and Sunnah, innit? We're not short of that. There's nothing, we all know we have to pray Salah, yeah? So yes, you have to think, hold on. Do we end up on the path of hell overnight? Yes, Abu Bakr.
I was going to say, by what Allah has said is wrong for us, by us doing those wrong things and falling into the shaitan whispers.
So shaitan whispers. So when I was talking about being powerless in front of shaitan, or do we have enough weapons, what do the whispers matter? Because look, if we've got the right tools, we know he's going to whisper to us, correct? Everybody knows that. But yet, people are still doing wrong, aren't they? Now, it's not obviously completely down just to his whispers, because, I think we have to look at ourselves sometimes. We don't even need a whisper, do we, most of us? We're there already. But if we think about it, it doesn't happen overnight. You're not a zero to hero overnight and vice versa. You don't go generally on the path to hell overnight. Unless, as you said, and even if, let's say, you have a Muslim who wants to lead a religion, he's not going to do it overnight, isn't he? That's been in his head. Slowly, somewhere seed has been planted, and it's developed, and he's probably gone through various things, and eventually then things. So, same with, somebody, let's say somebody who's really overweight. It doesn't happen overnight, does it? It just doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. Slowly, there's a build-up. You'll recognize, hold on, your clothes are going tighter. The jubba that fitted 6 months ago is maybe not fitting as much. Ustad, I'm not looking at you seriously. But you see, look, it doesn't happen overnight. There's steps to it. Now, the point for us is, see, when that jubba goes tight to you, or the abaya, whatever it is, that's our warning signal, isn't it? It's our little signal to say, hold on, I'm eating too much. Generally, I think we know when we're eating bad as well. If we're eating too many burgers in a particular week, having too many desserts, too many fizzy drinks, we know that, we recognize it, yet we'll continue to do it. So, okay, that jubba gets tight. It gets tighter and tighter. What do? You go and buy a new one, don't you? Then you're going further and further and further. And then you get to such a stage where it's alarm bells, it's seriously overweight, it's affecting your health. And now that mountain to climb is really hard, isn't it? Why? Because you've got such a stage, you're looking at Everest rather than Pendle Hill. Sister from Wolverhampton should surely know about Pendle Hill now. So you're not looking at Pendle Hill, you're looking at Everest. And that's why then when you look at Everest, you think, I'm done for. I can't even climb Pendle Hill, never mind Everest. And what do? Then you go even further down, don't you? You give up. You're powerless, aren't you then? But just then, as you can see on the wall, it is, as you said, it's really a path of self-destruction. It's you who's pressing the self-destruct button. It's not your mate, it's not your brother, it's not your mum and dad, it's not your wife, it's not your husband, it's you who's doing it. You have your finger on that button. TK, other people may be encouraging to say, press it, press it, press it. The husband at home maybe saying, press it, press the button. The wife might, but you're the one who's got the finger on that button, no one else. On the day of judgment, no one can say, why didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala press the button of self-destruction? Because we're not stupid. We know it's us. If you want to get up Fajr, you can get up to Fajr. If you don't want to get up for Fajr, you won't get up for Fajr. Your mum can shout at you. You can go to sleep at 2 a.m. or whatever, 1 a.m. and still miss Fajr. And really, we know the path to heaven is then the wrath of Allah, the displeasure of Allah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't designed us that one, we're powerless in front of the shaitan, and that we, go on this path of destruction. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send guides? The prophets. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send the Quran? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah's not leaving us alone and saying you're powerless and that's it. Sometimes you might think, like somebody said, a Quran and Sunnah. We all know that Quran and Sunnah came and it was there 1400 years ago and it's still relevant today. But people have a kind of disconnect with the Quran and Sunnah because it was revealed 1400 years ago. How do I deal with the issues of today? How do I deal with these kind of issues? But these issues have always been there. And most importantly, is there no guides today? Again, are we powerless? That there is nowhere we can turn to help avoid this path of self-destruction. So, as the sister mentioned, heedlessness, forgetfulness. We call it a ghafla, so forgetfulness. That's really one of the first steps. Forgetfulness of the Creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you. He is the being who created you. He is the being who's sustaining you. He is the being who's giving you food. He is giving you rizq. He's giving you shelter over your head. He's giving you the cloth. Because if you're the person in Africa who's not had food for 30 days, now we might think we're getting the food ourselves because we can go to any takeaway. We can even go to the new pies and pasty shop and see Abu Bakr there, and he might serve you a nice one of them croissants. But I'm sure he'll tell me he's not the one who's making that, are you? It's somebody else who's doing it. And again, if you follow that through, look, all the food came from the ground. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's really giving our food. There's means, and we will discuss that maybe next week, just briefly on that. But again, being forgetful of the Creator. When you're forgetful of the Creator, you're on the path to hell. When you, let's say, forget about your mum and dad, or your family, or your husband, or your wife, or your kids, you're not on a good path, are you? Death. Often we're reminded about death, aren't we? Who's been to a janazah? Should be everyone, virtually, yeah? Does it actually remind us of death? How long does that reminder last? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? We know when we go and do our condolences, I don't know about sisters, but the brothers are either on the phone or talking about politics or some worldly affair, aren't they? Brothers who go to the graveyard, we see physically the body being lowered into the grave. Some of us may even wash the dead body. But I ask myself, how long does that reminder actually last for me? Does it even last 24 hours? We know that death can come to us at any time. Samir might think he's got lots of years. But you can't guarantee you're going to be here tomorrow, can you? Can you guarantee me? No, exactly. So we can't, when we're forgetting death, we know that's our end game, correct? We all know that's our end game. Whether we actually believe it in practice, again, something we'll have to kind of unpack and see whether we actually believe that. But we know death is really the ultimate end game. We know the end path in terms of our life on here. It is death. Now, if I can see death there, then surely I have to think, what am I doing that I can see it? If if everyone knew when they were going to die, would our actions change? They would, wouldn't they? Just like, let's say you've got an assignment to give in or a dissertation, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Your actions slowly start changing because you know that timetable or that deadline's come in, I have to do the research, I have to do this, I have to do that, etc., etc. So you start altering your actions because you know you've got a deadline to meet. If you've got work in the morning, you're going to alter your actions tonight. You're going to go to bed at a reasonable time. Maybe some people get their clothes ready at night. Maybe some people do it in the morning. But again, if you're going to do it in the morning, you're going to make sure you get up with sufficient time. If you're starting at 9 o'clock, there's no way you're getting at 8:55 and getting ready and getting to work. You will know how long it will take you to get there and all them kind of factors. So see how much preparation you're just doing for work. Just for work, look how much preparation you do. Your preparation will start generally the night before because it will affect when you go to sleep your pattern for working next day. So there, you're taking at least 8, 10, 12 hours preparation already. You're thinking about it in your mind. What am I doing? I've got work tomorrow. But then when we ask this question of death, we know death is coming. TK maybe one day, 1 year, we don't know, do we? That's a reality. That's probably the worrying thing. No one can say, I've got 40 years to prepare, 30 years to prepare, 20 years to prepare. Yet, what are we doing it for on a daily basis? What do we do on a daily basis to prepare for our death? And really, the hereafter, when you're forgetting the Creator, you're forgetting death, you're forgetting the hereafter, aren't you? You're forgetting your ultimate abode. That where am I really ending up? How temporary is this life going to be? How temporary is this life going to be that am I preparing for the ultimate life? Yet, we'll do education in this life for 10, 15 years so that we can get a good job for 30 years, 40 years. That's what we're doing in it from the age of 5 to 21. You're in education. Why are you in education? So that 21 onwards, you can have some kind of ease. You can get a job. Maybe it's a well-paid job because that will lead to the things. We see that as a key, don't we? It will open other things. A good house, a good car, I don't know, a beautiful husband, a beautiful wife kind of thing. If I've got a really good job, I'm more likely to get a better partner. If I've got a dead-end job, I'm probably not going to get, necessarily a better partner. Because these are all factors we look at, aren't we? So as if you're a doctor, you're going to marry a girl who works in Greggs? Be realistic.
The likelihood is probably on paper most likely though.
Yes, exactly, yeah, on
Like
paper,
not
yeah.
myself, I just mean in general.
Yes,
Saying you would.
correct.
Yeah, but
And same with sisters. Look, if you're a doctor yourself, and I'm not disparaging any kind of profession, he said, but would you marry a taxi driver? You're unlikely to, aren't you? So again, look, the kind of preparations we do for everything in terms of our life and stuff. So I think we'll just conclude it this week at this point because we want to keep these sessions short and, because we know concentration spans are quite limited, Abu Bakr is thinking, glad it's finished. So yeah, but not Jazakallah khair for everyone for attending and hopefully you've just got some pointers to kind of think about kind of things that and really that powerful one is that shaitan, innit? He was doing everything in terms of ibadat and yet look at his abode. So Jazakallah khair everyone for attending and inshallah we'll continue this next week. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik.